after Jesus had been arrested and tried before the chief priests and the religious leaders, they led him away. And early the very next morning, the people that had plotted against Jesus, they all came together to decide what they were going to do next in their plot to kill him. And so after gathering, they decided to take him to the Roman governor at the time, who was Pontius Pilate. Now when Jesus came to Pilate, he stood in front of him, and Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" To which Jesus responded, "There, you said it." Now the chief priests and the crowd were hurling accusations at Jesus from all over the room. And Pilate asked him, "Do you not hear all these accusations that they level against you? What do you have to say for yourself?" But Jesus remained silent, much to Pilate's amusement. Now at the time, it was part of the culture that every year during the Passover celebrations, the Roman governor would release a prisoner to the people, and this prisoner would be anyone the people would have chosen. And so the crowd called out to Pilate and said, "Do for us what you have always done. Release to us a prisoner." At the time Jesus was being tried, there was another prisoner named Barabbas. He was a revolutionary who had committed a murder during an uprising. And so Pilate asked the people, "Shall I release to you this man, Jesus, the one you call the King of the Jews?" But the chief priests stirred the crowd up, and the crowd shouted, "No, we want Barabbas." Pilate, who assumed the priests had brought Jesus without the agreement of the people, then asked, "What shall I do then with this man that you call the King of the Jews?" And the people replied, stirred by the chief priests, "Crucify him!" Pilate, surprised, he then asked the crowd, "Why? What crime has he committed that he would deserve such a judgment?" But the crowd roared even louder. They shouted from everywhere, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" And so Pilate, to pacify the crowd and to follow the law, he let Jesus be whipped by a lead-taped whip, and he gave him up to the Roman soldiers to be crucified. From there, the Roman soldiers came and they took him, led him into the palace, where they called the rest of the battalion, and all the soldiers came. They surrounded Jesus, and they gave him a purple cloak that they put on him, and they took a crown that they made from thorns, and they set it on his head. Little by little, the thorns sinked into his skin, causing him to bleed at every turn. And they said to him in the cloak and the crown, "Oh, hail the King of the Jews," as if they were paying homage to him. But they whipped him with a whip in his head again and again. And all the while mocking him, they spat on him. And when they were all done and satisfied, they removed the purple cloak and they put on his own clothes back on him, leaving the crown of thorns, and they led him out to be crucified. This is the story from the Lord's Word.
Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came and gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the nail-pierced hands. Wash me in your cleansing flow. Now all I know, your forgiveness and Son of God, the darling of heaven, crucified. Worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb. Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came and gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the nail-pierced hands. Wash me in your cleansing flow. Now all I know, your forgiveness and embrace. Oh, worthy is the Lamb, seated on the throne. I'll crown you now with many crowns. You reign victorious, and high and lifted up. Oh, Jesus, Son of God, the darling of heaven, crucified. Worthy is the